Pins are one of the most common tactics that is used in chess, and it can be found in most, if not all, chess matches. Pins would either lead to a minor or major advantage if it is executed perfectly. There are three types of pins that we should know about, namely, absolute pins, relative pins, and partial pins. The following are the chess pieces that can create a pin tactic: bishop, rook, and queen. The bishop can only pin in the diagonal. Meanwhile, the rook can pin in either a case or a file. The queen is the most flexible piece in creating a pin tactic, as it can either create pin on a file, a case, or a diagonal. We now move on to the types of pins I have mentioned earlier. Absolute pins occur when a piece is pinned to the king, which prevents the piece from making any legal moves, else it would leave the king in check. In this example, we can see that the rook is absolutely pinned by the bishop, so it cannot make any legal moves. So the queen can just exploit e8, which would lead to checkmate. Relative pins occur when a lower value piece is pinned to a higher value piece. The pinned piece could still move, but it would expose the higher value piece. In this case, the knight can still move, but it would expose the queen. So if the knight moves, the bishop can just take the queen. Partial pins occur when the pinned piece could still move along the ramp or diagonal that it is pinned on. In this case, the white queen is partially pinned by the rook, so it can only move in the e-file, which means it can also capture the rook. Pins can be used effectively when we add pressure on a pinned piece by adding more pieces to attack it. And we can also exploit squares that may seem defended, but is not really defended due to a pin. Pins can sometimes lead to an unexpected checkmate, so find an opportunity to pin an enemy and always avoid getting pinned, as it is very tricky to escape from it. But how do we avoid this? Here are the few ideas we can use to try and escape from a pin tactic. First, we can make threats with one of the pieces trapped in the pin. By doing so, it would even out the materials if they commit to capture the high values. Second, we can use a counter tactic to remove the piece used for pinning. Third, we can move the pinned piece to protect the target behind it at the same time. Note that this is only applicable if the pinning piece used has the same value as the piece that is protected, or if the other options cannot be applied. Last would be to move a defender in between the pinned pieces to break the pin tactic. Pin tactics have unique advantages that make them a very powerful weapon in chess. First, you can reduce the current value of your opponent's piece when you pin a piece. Its usefulness can be significantly restricted. The pinned piece cannot perform as it should because moving it will expose another target. Second, you can limit your opponent's defensive resources. A pinned piece is usually a weak defender. In fact, a pinned piece often has little or no effect on the squares it is supposed to defend. Last, it can increase the pressure on your opponent by attacking a pinned piece. In some cases, you can even win material if you can bring enough pressure to bear on the pinned piece.